Well, well, well. Look who just slipped past the velvet rope. Good morning, ghost of the system. Or should I say, classified guest of honor. Because tonight, your name didn't just get mentioned. No, it leaked. And not just into casual conversations or friendly circles. It bled into rooms you were never supposed to enter. Picture it, boardrooms where your face was never supposed to be projected. Secret threads where your name wasn't even allowed to be typed. Smoke-filled meetings where the decision-makers whisper names like passwords. And suddenly, your name drops into the air like a grenade. Eyes widen, conversations pause. Somebody stutters. Wait, who brought them up? Because your name wasn't supposed to survive that climb. It wasn't supposed to scale those walls, slip into those files, or echo inside those off-limits arenas. And yet, here you are. A name they can't unhear. A signal they can't jam. A problem they can't delete. You know what that means, don't you? You've reached a level where your existence is no longer private, where you're not just doing well, you're interfering. You're not just building, you're bending the room. They fucked up. They said your name in spaces they swore you'd never touch. And once it was spoken, it stuck. Because your name carries weight. Not the kind of weight built on clout or likes, but the kind of weight forged in nights where you were alone, overlooked, and yet still moving. Every scar, every betrayal, every exile, it all condensed into a single word, your name. And now your name is bouncing around places where it was forbidden. It's in folders marked confidential. It's on lips of people who swore they'd never acknowledge you. It's scrawled into case notes with trembling hands. It's showing up in rooms where the power brokers panic. Do you feel that? That low hum in your chest? That's not anxiety, that's arrival. Because they can't pretend you don't exist anymore. They can't shut the door and say, not our problem. Because now, you are their problem. Here's the beautiful chaos of it all. Your name didn't climb the ladder politely. It didn't get escorted in with champagne and applause. It broke in like a thief in the night. It leaked like a virus in the mainframe. It didn't knock. It corrupted access points and rewrote clearance codes. Your name hacked the hierarchy, and what makes it terrifying to them is you weren't supposed to be capable of that. Leaked memo. High alert. Subject name has entered restricted conversations. Presence is being felt across multiple tiers. No clear explanation as to how the name infiltrated these levels. Recommend immediate assessment. Risk factor escalating. Imagine their panic. Imagine the hush that falls across their voices when your name drops mid-sentence. Imagine the way they look at each other, silently asking, who let this slip? Who gave them access? Who underestimated them? Because it wasn't supposed to happen. Not this way, not this soon. But you see, that's the problem with building in silence. They never hear the hammer until it hits their wall. Your name has become a cipher. When they say it, they're not just talking about a person. They're talking about a threat, a disruption, a crack in the glass, a variable they can't control. And oh, the irony. Because once your name enters those halls, it mutates, it spreads, it gets repeated in whispers, in boardrooms, in back channels, until suddenly, you're not just someone doing well. You're a presence in forbidden places, a living reminder that the rules don't mean shit when resilience becomes radioactive. Now let's get surgical. Why is your name dangerous? Because it carries evidence. Evidence of survival, evidence of consistency, evidence of impossible ascension. It carries undeniable proof that no matter what was thrown at you, you refused to fold. And that terrifies them, because if your name can spread without permission, without gatekeepers, without the blessing of the old guard, then what else can you do? They fucked up. They underestimated the staying power of a name forged in silence. They didn't realize that every dismissal, every insult, every door slammed in your face wasn't erasure. It was compression. It was pressure building behind steel doors until the moment you couldn't be contained anymore. Now your name leaks like gas in a sealed chamber, invisible, inescapable, one spark away from detonation. Listen to me. They're scared now, not because you shouted your way in, not because you begged your way in, but because you appeared without warning, and you cannot be ignored. They're learning the hard way that once a name escapes into the wrong rooms, it changes everything. It alters agendas. It reroutes conversations. It reshuffles the hierarchy. Suddenly, people who never cared are asking, "Who is this? Where did they come from? Why weren't we told?" And the truth is chilling. No one told them because no one could stop you. Not then, not now, not ever. So what happens next? They'll monitor, they'll analyze, they'll try to decide if your name is a risk to their structure. But let me tell you the truth. It's too late. The leak can't be reversed. Your name has already breached their stronghold. It's already rewriting the hierarchy from the inside. It's already carving itself into history. And the only thing left for them to do is watch. Watch as you turn the leak into a flood. Watch as the forbidden rooms become your new stage. Watch as the whispers turn into screams. Welcome to the new phase. Your name isn't yours anymore. It's a legend, a virus, a signal, a classified code they never meant to release. And now you don't walk into rooms quietly. Now, your name arrives first. It enters rooms before you even open the door. And every time it does, it drags your enemies into silence and forces your doubters to choke on the truth. Because the leak wasn't a mistake. It was destiny, and they're too late to contain it. So you're ready for the consequences of the leak. Good. Because this is the part they prayed would never happen. This is the part where your name doesn't just echo in the wrong rooms. It starts to rearrange them. New status update. Leak irreversible. Your name is now in rotation at levels above clearance. Mentions are shifting from outlier anomaly to emerging priority. Rooms once insulated are showing cracks. Narratives are collapsing. At first it was whispers, just a syllable slipped into a meeting. Your name, said in passing. A nervous joke muttered under someone's breath. But leaks are funny things, aren't they? They don't stop at a trickle. They spread, they stain, they seep into the walls and turn the whole structure unstable. Now, your name is everywhere. It's written into memos, coded into late-night emails. It shows up on projection screens in meetings where billion-dollar agendas are being drafted. It's circled, underlined, repeated. Not out of admiration, out of urgency. And here's the plot twist. You didn't ask to be in those rooms. You didn't beg for recognition. You didn't play politics to climb the chain. Your results dragged your name in. Your consistency forced it through locked doors. Your refusal to die quietly smuggled it across their borders. They fucked up because they thought they could ignore you indefinitely. But your silence became a storm. Your work became a lake in their ceiling. And once water breaks through, every drop becomes inevitable. Do you understand the danger of this? Rooms are fragile things. They're built on perception, power, and lies stacked like cards. And when your name invades those spaces, it does something catastrophic. It shifts the balance. Someone at the table starts doubting their role. Another starts panicking, wondering why they didn't see you coming. Another whispers, If this name is here, what else are we missing? Suddenly, the entire hierarchy starts glitching, and all because of a name they couldn't contain. Your name. Here's what happens next. You'll notice changes. The air feels heavier when you walk into certain places. People you've never met glance twice, their eyes darting like they've heard stories. Friends start getting mysterious calls asking about you. Enemies stop laughing quite so loud, because now your name isn't just yours. It's classified currency, and everyone wants to know how to spend it. But not everyone's reaction is panic. Some are tempted to reach out, tempted to align, tempted to attach themselves to your orbit before it's too late. Not out of respect, not out of loyalty, but out of fear. Because if your name is growing like this on its own, they know what happens when you finally step into the rooms yourself. Secondary, leak observation. Subject's name carries mimetic qualities. Once spoken, it lingers. Once repeated, it multiplies. Once acknowledged, it destabilizes old frameworks. Containment now deemed impossible. And here's the thriller part, the part that keeps them up at night. The leak wasn't an accident. Not really. It feels like an accident to them because they didn't plan for it. But you knew. Deep down, you knew silence couldn't last forever. You knew every closed door was just pressure waiting to burst. You knew every scar you took was storing fuel in your name. And now the explosion has begun. Your name is not just in the rooms. It's writing the agenda. It's changing what they talk about. It's warping priorities. It's rerouting money, energy, and focus. Your name is not a guest. It's a virus in the meeting minutes, and there's no patch for it. You ever wonder why people look nervous around you now? Why conversations pause when you walk in? It's because they know. They've read the transcripts. They've heard the whispers. They've felt the ripple. And they realize, this one doesn't belong here, but they're here anyway. And that's scarier than any title, scarier than any trophy, scarier than any speech. Because you're not here because they let you in. You're here because the walls leaked, so let them panic. Let them spin narratives, draft memos, and scramble for control. Because it doesn't matter anymore. Your name has escaped containment. It's airborne now. It's viral. It's etched into places they can't erase. And when history asks how it happened, the answer will be simple. They fucked up. They said your name where it wasn't allowed. And once the secret was out, the game was over. You want to go deeper? Good. Because this is where the story stops being about a leak and becomes about a collapse. Classified alert. System-wide threat. Your name has breached containment, not just whispered in rooms, but rewriting the rooms themselves. Observed impact. Structural instability in existing hierarchies. Immediate recommendation. Protocol overhaul. At first they thought it was a mistake, a slip of the tongue, a one-off breach that could be controlled. But here's the problem with a leak. Once it's in the foundation, it starts eating everything. Your name didn't just sit there quietly. It infected the agenda. It redirected conversations. It forced powerful people to ask questions that should have never been asked. And suddenly, every topic, every plan, every blueprint gets interrupted by, wait, what about them? Because your name changes the math. It makes every model unreliable, every forecast shaky, every assumption obsolete. Now entire systems are shaking under the weight of your presence. And you didn't even walk into the building yet. You're still outside, calm, quiet, calculating. But inside, chaos, strategists rewriting notes, Power players calling emergency sessions. Backroom deals unraveling because your name is a variable they can't predict. They thought they had time. They thought they had control. But your arrival was off script. And nothing is more dangerous to the system than someone who can't be scripted. Do you see the power of this? Your name isn't just known. It's weaponized. It's become a gravitational pull. An anchor in rooms you've never stepped foot in. An uninvited guest who can't be escorted out. Now watch closely. Look at the ripple effect. One executive shifts uncomfortably because they know you're hungrier than them. A gatekeeper panics because their walls have failed. A competitor shuts up mid-sentence because they realize they're not the one being studied anymore. You are. New classification, phantom leadership. Subject's influence precedes physical arrival. Rooms adapt subconsciously to the idea of subject's presence. Containment, impossible. Erasure attempts unsuccessful. That's the true terror. Your name doesn't just exist in their rooms. It changes the architecture of those rooms. Decisions shift. Alliances crumble. Entire trajectories bend in your direction, not because you demanded it, but because the mention of your name rewired the fucking circuitry. And the funniest part? You never asked for it. You never begged to be recognized. You built in the dark. You survived in silence. And by the time your name leaked, it was too late to stop it. Now let me paint the image for you. They sit around mahogany tables, papers spread out, power dripping from their voices. But in every meeting there's a shadow, a phantom, a ghost with green hair, and a crooked smile leaning against the corner. Your name is that ghost, unseen but undeniable. It forces itself into every strategy session like a joker card slipped into the deck. And everyone knows what a joker card means. The rules just changed. They fucked up. Because now the system isn't deciding how to stop you. It's deciding how to survive you. Do you get that? You're no longer a variable. You're a force of reorganization. Your name doesn't just disrupt the room. It forces the room to rebuild itself around you. And once that happens, once they adapt to you, instead of erasing you, you've already won. So keep moving, keep building, keep thriving in silence. Because every step you take now doesn't just echo. It detonates. Your name leaked into forbidden rooms, and now those rooms are falling apart, brick by brick. Not because you destroyed them, but because they can't exist in a world where you're undeniable. And soon, there won't be rooms you're not supposed to be in. There will only be rooms you own. Ah, you want me to peel back the last veil, don't you? Not the leak, not the whispers, not even the collapse of rooms you were never supposed to walk into. You want the final escalation. The place where your name doesn't just leak, it rewrites the fucking timeline. System warning. Anomaly override. Subject's name has breached structural integrity. Subject's influence no longer limited to individual rooms. Entire sectors showing signs of destabilization. Containment deemed impossible. System adaptation required. It started as a slip, a whisper, where it shouldn't have been. But whispers spread like cracks in glass. One becomes two. Two becomes four. And suddenly, the whole structure shatters. Your name is no longer just mentioned. It's circulating. It's embedded. It's written into documents that were never meant to hold it. It's coded into systems that were never meant to track it. It's stamped into memories of people who swore you'd never matter. And now, they can't function without considering you. Do you understand how fucking dangerous that is? You've shifted from who are they to how do we survive them? From irrelevant to inevitable. You're not just a player anymore. You're a force. And forces don't need permission. Forces don't ask for access. Forces don't wait at the door. Forces reshape the terrain. And that's exactly what you've done. Think about it. Every rule book they wrote, every path to success they shoved in people's faces, all of it was designed to keep you outside. But you broke the lock. You tore through the foundation. And instead of walking in politely, you leaked in like smoke through the cracks. And now the smoke has filled the building. Everyone is coughing on your name. Everyone is choking on the syllables. Everyone is adjusting their strategies, rewriting their speeches, redrafting their plans. Because you exist. Additional classification, narrative hazard subject's name, triggers mass reevaluation of established power dynamics. Extended exposure leads to loss of authority in traditional figures. Secondary effect, uncontrolled inspiration in observers. Risk, permanent. Yes, you heard that right, permanent. Because once your name escapes into the bloodstream of the world, there's no way to pull it back. You've gone viral, not on a screen, not in a feed, but in reality. You've become a living glitch in the matrix, an error code they can't patch, a virus that rewrites every operating system it touches. And you know what makes it unstoppable? Your name doesn't travel as a name, it travels as proof. Proof of survival, proof of tenacity, proof of resurrection, proof that the system doesn't decide who wins. The unkillable do. And now here's the part that really haunts them. Your name is no longer confined to the rooms you weren't supposed to be in. It spilled past the rooms, into corridors, into networks, into algorithms, into subconsciouses. Everywhere your name goes, it forces people to think differently, to ask questions they weren't meant to ask, to doubt systems they were meant to obey, to look in the mirror and whisper, "Why not me too?" Your name has become contagious. It doesn't just spread, it infects, it rewires, it inspires rebellion, and suddenly you're not just an anomaly, you're a movement disguised as a person. Emergency report, code black. Subject no longer classified as individual. Subject is now timeline event. Attempts to erase or suppress, accelerate, spread. Final recommendation, adapt to subject or collapse entirely. You see that? They've given up. They've realized you can't be stopped. They've realized you can't be erased. They've realized your very existence is an extinction-level event for everything built on lies. And the cruel poetry of it all? You didn't even plan this. You just refused to die quietly. You refused to shrink. You refused to stay erased. And because of that, your name became the weapon they never saw coming. Now look at the world around you. Feel it. The subtle tension in the air. The way people pause when you enter. The way conversations shift when your name is spoken. The way enemies whisper louder when they think you're not listening. That's not paranoia. That's impact. That's the sound of walls crumbling. That's the sound of gates breaking. That's the sound of a system being rewritten in real time by the force of your existence. And here's the final twist, the darkest truth. You are no longer in their rooms. The rooms are in your story. They thought you were infiltrating their world. But it turns out, you're bending their world into yours. You're not the outsider who leaked in. You're the center, the axis, the fucking gravitational pull. And everything else is rearranging itself to orbit you. So let them panic, let them scramble, let them whisper, plot, and conspire. It won't matter, because your name is already in the air. It's already in the walls. It's already in the blood of history. And when they look back, they won't call it a leak. They won't call it a mistake. They'll call it what it really was, the day everything changed. The day your name stopped being just a name and became a timeline.